Holy shit! Welcome back to the
Pasture Podcast.
Pasture Podcast.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right, we have a first timer. I mean, this is Cole and Levi, and then we have a newcomer to the channel.
My name is Sophie. Hi.
Hi, my name is Levi, and the other one's Cole. But you should also just give them an audio snippet of your voice.
I'm Cole. Hi.
There you go.
So to introduce Sophie, what are some other names that you go by? Like, if they hear what, should they know it's you?
I feel like everyone in the...
Spicy Italian.
Yeah, Spicy... Everyone in the pasture has a bunch of nicknames, but I feel like Sophie doesn't... You're Spicy Italian.
Yeah, and then the only other one I really have includes my last name, which I'm not giving out on the internet.
Okay.
Not for free, at least. Wink.
She looked at me when she said that.
Don't give anything out for free on the internet.
Never look at me like that. Just never look at me.
I'm trying really hard not to.
Well, okay, let's get on topic. See, any superpower, I'm sure Sophie... Mine would be invisibility for the sake of everyone in the pasture.
Whoa, okay. You went into this real quick.
Oh, okay, well...
We're going to be talking about superpowers and superheroes and superhero culture because recently historians have, come to the conclusion that there are two truly American art forms. That is comic books and jazz music. And we're not talking about jazz music. We're talking about superheroes.
Well, hey, you like jazz?
You like jazz?
No. So, Levi, you were talking about if we could have any power?
Yeah, well, mine was more of a self-deprecating joke. I was like, I'd be invisible so y'all don't have to look at me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
Although...
We'll do that as our first question.
Okay.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Who wants to take this first?
Sophie was going first.
I would probably be a shapeshifter because, well, it depends. There's a difference between looking like a certain thing and having the attributes of a certain thing.
Beast Boy.
Yeah. When he turns into a lion, he's as fast as a lion because he's a fucking lion.
Yeah.
And but there are also some, I can't think of any necessarily, superheroes that would have this, but in theory, you could look like something and not necessarily have, the strength of a cheetah.
I can give you an example. This is a really bad example.
I'm
you guys remember that movie Sky High?
Fucking Sky High is my shit!
Yeah.
Yes!
So,
there
was that one kid who could change how he looked to look like other people.
Yeah.
That's that's the thing, I guess.
Yeah.
With what you're saying, where they look like something else.
Also,
the one good use of Sky High.
Yeah, the whole Sky High is a fucking masterpiece.
It's a great
Don't ever
movie.
tell me
I just
otherwise.
watched that with
I haven't seen that in years. I need to. Let's watch it afterwards. Anyway,
your turn, Levi.
Alright, well, I'd also like to, before we're done with Sophie's thing, I'd like to talk about, the catches of, having a superpower.
Yeah.
What is the thing that would be, the catch for you? Would you still want to be a shapeshifter if, let's say, you transform into a dragon, or you're still oh, hey, Sophie, we know it's you, or, Beast Boy, he transforms,
well, I feel
you
have
green.
A time limit. I feel because especially, all of a sudden, you go from being maybe, let's just say, you're, a 200-pound man, all of a sudden you go to being, a ton rhinoceros.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to take a lot of energy, so depending on what you transform into, it's probably going to, wear you out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you probably are limited with
that. That's a good catch. So would you still want to be...
Hell yeah, because I can find practical everyday uses in it.
Yeah.
And I think something else that often occurs is shapeshifters have, a preferred form that they tend to use. What Beast Boy really liked, there was one.
I have not seen that show in years.
I think a T-Rex was one of his biggest.
Yeah, he did that a lot. I just started rewatching that.
And so, I think that's kind of a thing, and maybe that would take less energy from you than, random ass shit.
Yeah, maybe, transforming into somebody you know is probably going to be easy. You could probably do that for, an entire day, but transforming into someone you've never really met before, maybe that'll be a little harder. You can only do it for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Alright, leaping man.
Well, I gotta think, because I don't want to take Sophie's, because I really would rather be, a shapeshifter more than pretty much anything. I'm trying to think. Telekinesis would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, I don't know how much to say about that. I'd really like to be a shapeshifter, more for, everyday purposes, or, pulling pranks, or just, I don't know, I'd like to be a bit taller.
Yeah. So every day you use part of your energy to be a little bit taller, and
then
so
taller.
by
And
11
taller.
o'clock at night, you've used all the energy and it wears off.
You just pass out.
And so what
Yeah.
happens is anyone who sees you after 11, you're like, did you take like your shoes off? Like,
He doesn't look right.
Did
He doesn't look right.
Did you get like the slightest bit shorter? What happened?
Did you get like 5 feet shorter? Why are you
No,
like the
not
size of a
5.
fucking like pencil sharpener? What the fuck?
Is that it? I mean,
you know what? Come back to me. Okay, cool. What was your thing?
I have always wanted to have super strength. And I think that might come from me being a bigger guy in like bigger guys are always portrayed as like the strong men.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. And I don't know, I've always thought that'd just be like really cool to be like, I'm gonna just pick up this tree from the ground. Fuck you, guy. Like,
Completely off topic, but remember when we were in the fucking woods and those kids picked up a tree?
And threw it at us?
That's
a story
over.
for another time.
Yeah, anyway, I really love the super strong guy trope, because every time I think about that, it's not like that they're super strong, it's that they can lift, X times their weight. And there was this one Lilo and Stitch episode where Stitch was holding up, exactly the weight limit, and then someone put like a little feather on top of the 5 million cars he was holding up, and he just fucking collapsed. I think that'd be funny if I just always thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I realized the other superpower that I was thinking of. So I'm not the biggest fan of superheroes, but I love superpowers, especially like Avatar: Last Airbender. I'd consider bending to be a superpower. If I were to be a bender, I would be an earthbender, and I like manipulating matter. And I hate to bring this up, but Homestuck.
Oh shit!
I know. I'm sorry. No, but the space players were always cool. I always thought that was cool.
I mean, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go back to mine since Levi so rudely cut me off.
Fucking okay.
I'm sorry. Something that has always stuck with me. And I can't believe that I'm bringing an example from Sky High again. But it's,
Sky High is perfect.
It's the perfect example. When he punches... For those of you who haven't seen it, stop listening.
What are you
and
doing?
Watch it right now.
Honestly.
So, hello. Welcome back. You just went and watched Sky High, obviously. When he punches the gymnasium floor... and it ripples out.
Yeah.
That is always the coolest shit to me. I'm like, that would be so cool. And you can essentially, if you, like, have super strength, you can, like, low-key earthbend. Because you can pick up a fucking rock and throw it at somebody. Like, obviously it's not the same thing completely, but you can do very similar things.
I think earthbending, especially if we're bringing this into like modern times and like right now in the universe that we live in, because Korra kind of expanded on what bending would be like in a somewhat modern world, but that was more based on like the industrial era. But I'm thinking, what is everything made of now? We have so much like synthetic material. Like, where is your limit on what you can bend if you're an earthbender?
I mean, brick.
Yeah.
I'd say you're not. Obviously, I don't think you can go to be bending wood or anything. I'd say anything that would occur, that is made of naturally occurring materials in the ground.
Yeah, because that's one thing that always pissed me off. Because there's this one episode in Avatar where they were in a wooden prison because Toph could metal bend, but she couldn't wood bend, and I always thought that was stupid. Like, you should be able to bend wood.
But it's not.
But it's not Earth.
Yeah, I know, but as a kid, I was like, that's stupid. She should be able to bend this.
Depending on, like, let's just say, I mean, they already especially in the show, they already talked about being a waterbender is really useful because even though like you need water to bend anything, every single plant ever has water inside of it, even in the smallest trace amount. So
everything has water in it.
Especially like if Katara really needed to, I don't think she would because she respects nature because she's a bad bitch like me. Anyway, if she really needed to, she could literally drain the life from a tree, and trees probably have a fuck ton of water in them, right? Because they're fucking big, you know. Yeah. And she could fuck shit up for people, you know.
Didn't one episode? I was never as into it as you guys were. Like, I never followed it as closely.
Oh no, the only reason like I'm alive today is because fucking Avatar: Last Airbender. Like that is my breath of life. That breathes life into me.
Didn't in one episode they were a waterbender? Didn't they like bend blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Isn't that a
They
thing?
can only
Spoiler!
do it. Okay.
That was Katara.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm
that
sorry.
happens.
The show's been out for so long. We're talking about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you haven't seen these. Like, yeah,
You really should.
yeah, but we're gonna be talking about it.
However, only really in the show at least, it's very clear not every waterbender is able to do this. Even if they are like really skilled, they're not able to do this. And
Much like metal bending.
yeah, a lot like metal bending. You have a certain quality about you that lets you to be able to do this. And the woman who actually brings it up in the show, who develops the technique, can only do it on a full moon.
Yeah.
And it's only later discovered that Katara can do it anytime she wants.
Yeah.
Which is something she only does twice in the show. Because it's very clear that there are some things morally wrong with this. And even in Korra, they make a law against bloodbending.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, to them, it's so morally wrong.
May I ask, because I'm intrigued, I just knew it was a thing that happened. What is the use of it? Does she use it to heal someone, or does she, like, kill someone?
Okay, so basically, with bloodbending, you can control people's body, you can control their circulatory
You can
system.
make them into a puppet because you can...
Or you can even stop the flow of blood.
Yeah, my brother and I would always have discussions about this, and he'd always wanted to be a waterbender only if he could bloodbend so that he could stop someone's heart. And I was like, that was
so
fucking
technically you'd be able to do
insane.
that. But in Katara's case, the woman who was telling her about this was forcing Aang and Sokka to fight, and Sokka was about to impale Aang on his sword, so she bloodbended to stop the woman from doing this. And then she swore to never do it again. But in a later episode where she and Zuko are going to try and find the man who killed her mother, she bloodbends. She uses bloodbending to, I think, stop some guards that are
stop some guards.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Zuko's like, fuck, I could have died. I could have died so many times. But, that's...
Huh, that I didn't know how, like...
What? I thought you watched it. Have you?
I did, but I haven't watched any of Korra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are...
No, that was in...
But if it's been a while since you watched it...
It's been a long while.
Did you finish it? The series? Because I don't remember you... Oh, okay, that's in the last season, so...
Okay.
Back onto the catches of certain superpowers. That's another one that's like being a waterbender. It's really versatile, but it's like you have to have the skill to do it. I guess there's the catch. You can only bloodbend on a full moon, or
but you could still. I feel like that doesn't apply to siphoning the water out of things, though.
Yeah.
So you can do that
was
literally
still
anywhere.
kind of difficult for her.
That's still hard, yeah.
It'd still be hard, but I feel like with practice you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're a bender, you're gonna put practice into it.
This is something. Here you go. This is getting a little real. Depending on how willing you are, if it's a dire situation, you could bend your own water out of you.
This is
true.
And
use that.
In fact, Katara actually kind of does. She uses
bends
her
her
sweat.
That's cool.
Like, I don't know how far you got in the series, so it's a little bit...
I'm pretty, not far.
Okay, well, anyway,
care,
there are situations where, she uses water to cut things, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Also, airbenders. We need to talk about airbenders for a second, because I know in Korra there's a scene where they literally, siphon the air out of someone's lungs.
Oh my god, that was really cool. I think people really underestimate airbenders, one, because there's not a whole lot of them in the show.
And because they follow a peaceful, non-violent philosophy, and I feel like the reason they do that is because they have the potential. I mean, airbenders, hands down, are the most powerful benders.
Because if you, and they did this earlier on in the show, they didn't have an earthbender, so they used Aang to use his airbending to lift up a rock. You can... if you have airbending, you essentially have telekinesis. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, because of the air is everywhere kind of thing.
I feel like it's because, one, even when the air nomads were not, wiped out, there still wasn't that many of them. You had the like two groups essentially of air nomads.
This became just a straight
I know.
Avatar.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
after this, I think we gotta switch because like if there
I'm
are
sorry.
people who don't watch Avatar, they're lost
Yeah.
completely.
No,
Alright.
we
If you don't watch Avatar, what the fuck are you doing, man? That is like the 2000s kids generation.
It's a
like
great show.
that's just our whole childhood. But what the fuck are you doing?
Also,
Yeah,
Danny
honestly.
Phantom.
Yeah, true.
As a side
oh
note.
shit, you're
Okay.
right.
So, kind of, I would also like to talk about basically, like mainstream superheroes and how they come to be and why we think they are what's chosen, if that makes sense. Like, because there are certain, I mean, there are lists and lists, and I've looked through them because I find this very fun, of just, I say dead, I don't mean literally dead in the canon, but haven't had a comic in 25 years. Lists of hundreds of Marvel and DC characters. But there's a third Avengers movie coming out.
Yeah.
You know? They're the same heroes, and I'm just kind of like, it's intriguing to wonder why.
Well,
Captain America.
yeah, that's exactly
is,
where I was gonna go, and I know Sophie's like feeding to talk about
That's
this.
a very obvious, because he's an American symbol. Like,
Yeah.
very
And he was Marvel's. I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was one of Marvel's first superheroes.
I
very,
think so.
very
Yeah.
first.
He's-
one
yeah.
of them.
As much as I love Marvel, Marvel is my favorite out of any, like, mainstream superhero company. That's not
There's
what I'm
only
trying to say.
two.
Well, no, I mean, there's a couple of, like, indie ones that no one knows about, obviously.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not too into superheroes. I'm getting more into it. I'm more into, mainstream Avengers stuff, like, the more newer comics and the
Well,
movies.
it's because they're easier to have access
Oh, yeah,
to.
no. The thing I love about I love superhero content and stuff. I love the idea of superheroes,
But there's so many universes, and it's like when you ask people, okay, well, where do I start? Where should I start? You kind of are, like, expected to, like, be born knowing this
Yes.
information, and it's like, well...
It's like, do I start with the first comic? Do I literally have to go back to, like, the ones that were written in the 1930s? Or can I just start with this new universe?
And I think something that's really hard about comic books, like, a big thing, and this was a topic that reached mainstream news because of how big a deal it was, Captain America's first death. And
I have not heard about
the
this.
fact that I can say Captain America's first death creates some weird things, because now you're like, well, if he just comes back in another comic, no explanation, he doesn't get revived by some other hero or anything.
Do you mean
universe.
another comic
It's a
or
different
another
universe.
Yeah, another universe,
It's-
another comic series.
Another comic series.
Yeah.
And so now everything becomes very confusing. I don't know, I think superheroes are something that are both a niche market, but also so mainstream nowadays that it's in
Yeah.
a really weird situation.
It's like, the movies are mainstream, but the actual comics are niche. Because,
Yeah.
I really love the idea of superheroes, but other than the movies, I haven't had a whole lot of chance to get into it because,
That
I
is
don't know where
'cause
to start with comics. They're
Every
so
comic
expensive.
only has like four page, yeah.
Yeah.
Every comic only has like 4 pages to it,
And there's so many
and then
ads.
and so many ads, and it's like $3 a comic, which doesn't seem bad until you realize there are like 45 comics in a series,
Yeah.
And then there's, like, other series that you might have to read before it. Like,
and then you don't even know where to start.
yeah, for example, I recently started reading Spider-Man versus Deadpool versus Spider.
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
we know.
It doesn't
I
matter.
don't remember which one it was. I think I said Superman originally. I'm all over the place today. I'm sorry. Which is a fairly new comic series. When I first when I got the first one, there was only 2 comics out, so I got the first 2 comics. I didn't have a chance to get another one for a couple months because I kind of forgot about it. And I look back and there's like 10 issues now or something, and I can't afford to get them all at the same time. And it's just going to be really, it's an expensive hobby to get into, I guess.
Yeah. And that's why I think what's so cool about superheroes is being able to make your own stories.
Yeah.
Because superheroes are basically modern mythologies. Like, essentially. Obviously, you have heroes like Thor and Odin and Loki who are literally mythological beings. And there's some more that are like that are very clearly based in mythology, but they are American mythos in a way. And obviously other cultures will have gotten in on this at some point. I'm sure, like, there are probably Russian comic like companies that make their own heroes and everything. But I think it's so cool that I could write down, like I could gather around my friends and write down a whole bunch of adventures that Aquaman takes. Like, that's just because there's no way to say that this didn't happen, you know?
There's a million
Aquaman sucked my dick. It happened. I just said it right now.
He sucked my dick in a kiddie pool at Toys R Us.
That is so
And it happened.
not what I meant.
It happened, guys.
I want Aquaman to waterbend my dick into a kiddie pool. I can't think of anything other than kiddie pools.
I was being so sincere. Okay, I have a question
alright.
for you guys.
What?
Who's your favorite villain? Any, like,
Ooh.
it doesn't matter where.
I'm-
Because I have a very clear one.
Y'all are gonna have to hold
I'm
me
gonna
back
let
from
you
talking
guys
about
go.
Avatar.
My problem is, are you talking just in general, or are you talking from a specific comic group?
Well, like, comics in general. Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
thing
say,
is,
I'll do this as a general way of putting it. Super stories. So, movies, comics, TV shows, anything. Who is your favorite? I'll give you two. Who is your favorite aesthetically? Mm-hmm. And who is your favorite for character development, plot, kind of?
okay, so the Joker, I have to talk about, and specifically the Joker that made modern villain.
Keith Ledger?
Yeah.
Yep. Fucking Keith Ledger's Joker. Holy shit.
I know, watching it, because the first time I ever saw his rendition of the Joker, I had already seen, this was back in, maybe,
Was it when it came out?
no, it was not when it came out.
Okay.
It was a while after. So there had already been other movies, other Batman movies
Wait.
had been made. I had gotten into Marvel first, so I had already seen Marvel villains. So I already had like a standard of villain. So, but you have to understand, especially if you are new to superhero movies, you're new to the Batman sagas, like you, and you look at that movie and you think, well, yeah, sure, the Joker is scary, but like I've seen worse. You have to understand, before that, there was nothing that bad.
Yeah, and
He
I remember
set the bar for villainry
Oh,
in movies.
yeah.
You know, because I remember
Before that, nothing like that had ever been done really before.
The Joker has kind of always been the trendsetter because, and I really, this is kind of where I was trying to lead this, and I still want to get you guys' top. DC, in my opinion, has always had the better, more gritty, serious villain.
100%.
hell yeah.
Like-
See, for me, I like Marvel's heroes and I like DC's villains.
Yeah.
And then I've always thought that they should put out a DC villain movie, and then they had Suicide Squad. And,
Suicide Squad wasn't bad.
I liked Suicide Squad.
I like
wasn't
Suicide.
bad.
It's not what I was expecting, though. I do like it as its own thing, but all of the ideas that I had when the only thing I had heard was that it was going to be villains. It's not what I was expecting. It's a good movie.
Hey, sorry, we're jackasses, and the recording fucked up. But we are here now.
Long story short, I don't remember what I was saying.
We were talking about Suicide Squad and how it wasn't what you expected.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected. Sorry. After rewatching it without, my expectations, I was like, yeah, it's a good movie on its own.
And then, so I wanted to bring up, just kind of as a really good example, there's two I can really think of how DC is much grittier, and in my opinion, that's what makes a better villain.
Totally.
Because you have, heroes are like, it's supposed to be this, I'm trying to think of a good way of putting this level of good and morality that you can't really reach, if that makes sense. And so the villains need to be gritty, and I think two DC villains that really do that are, number one, the Scarecrow, and number two, Solomon Grundy. I'll start with Scarecrow because that's the one most people know. I just like, I'm trying to think of what game it was. I wanted to,
Arkham
Batman,
City?
I think it
Or
was
Arkham
City.
Asylum?
There's one I can really think of. If any of you have played Injustice, there's, you can play it's a fighting game like Mortal Kombat, and so one of the stages you can play on is within Arkham Asylum.
Oh, sure.
And there's this game is full with stage interactions, and actually if you punch someone off screen a certain way, you go into a Scarecrow cutscene. And it is terrifying. you just see his face, and he's got the weird Scarecrow gas mask on, and he's truly a terrifying character, and I think that makes a villain so much stronger to me.
I think DC in general, I think Marvel was created because we needed Marvel superheroes at a time when we needed to see some good in the world.
Especially like Captain America.
Yeah,
he was a political statement.
Yeah. And I think DC was created to show why we need superheroes in the first place.
I see what you mean.
Because human beings, I mean, almost every conflict that has ever gone on has been created because sometimes they're just really bad people. And I think that's why DC villains are usually a lot better than Marvel villains, is because Marvel centers around us needing to see the good in others, and DC is exactly what I said before, because I don't feel like repeating it. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Something else, I think, like, another good example. I'm not going to use Sullivan Grundy because I feel like not enough people really know him.
I had to look him up. I vaguely recognize him. I think I saw fan art once.
That's a cool name, though.
This is one people should know. Deathstroke. He's a straight-up assassin for hire who kills superheroes. Like,
sounds cool.
It doesn't get more real than that. And I think that's just something that is really intense and cool.
I like how also DC villains tend to not be completely evil.
Yeah.
They all, again, this is why their villains tend to be a bit better, is because there's always a reason why people do the things that they do. And at the end of the day, villains and superheroes are people.
Yeah.
There is a reason why they do the things they do. Even if it's not justifiable, even if, it doesn't make any sense, there is a reason.
That's what just makes a character a good character in general. You need to make them human. You can't have, an angel and a devil character. You need to make them human. And I mean, you can have a good character who is a terrible human.
Yeah.
Like pretty much any villain that can be like Joker, for example, especially Heath Ledger's Joker. Shitty, terrible, awful person. Amazing character.
Oh, yeah.
And also, back on the Heath Ledger thing, because I remember I was watching it with you the first time you watched it. I was like, when did you watch this other than that one time? What?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it because I had always been more of a Marvel fan, and it's not that I rejected DC, it's just I had never had the time to get into it.
You got into Marvel around, the time that the first Avengers movie came out, so, there was more content, newer content for you to watch.
Yeah.
I watched the, Heath Ledger Batman series when it first came out, pretty much. And hell, I have to look up, when this came out, but I was very young, and, it terrified me, and even from a young age, I could really appreciate what Heath Ledger did, but, it set the bar for what a villain should be for my entire life. And so, at such a young age, I was like, okay, everything's gonna be like Heath Ledger scary, right? Which is how, all movies are, they're trying to make the villains Heath Ledger scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, what is so organic, especially about his rendition of the Joker, is that
I've been saying Heath Ledger, it's Heath Ledger. I'm sorry.
Wait, you've been saying what?
I've been saying Heath Ledger this entire time.
Oh my god.
I'm really out of it. I'm sorry. It's Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole. Also, when did this come out? 1 second. Can you the name? What?
Well, also, particularly about, even though there is definitely, a reason why the Joker is the way he is, his rendition of the Joker, a lot of people try and justify, especially with Suicide Squad, for example. A lot of people try and justify what the Joker does because he wants something. He needs, he wants Harley Quinn. He's in love with her. He wants to have control over her, yada, 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 which is, true, but especially about his Joker in particular, there was no logic behind his actions. He just loved watching people squirm. And that's what makes a good villain, because there are honest to God, real life people, for example, serial killers who are like that.
Yeah.
Which is what made him so real. You cannot have a character that you cannot relate to. And even though we can't personally relate to him in that respect, we can relate to it because we have seen people in the news, in history, who have been exactly like that.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have to have known a serial killer to have...
What is happening? I'm
What was
so
that?
sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm just looking up some villain things, and a Wikipedia page just started playing.
Wikipedia.
Why is it? Why?
Okay, you need to mute your computer, dude.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This podcast has been a fucking train wreck. Christ.
I'm so sorry, and that was right by the mic, so I'm sure that's quite loud.
God, I'm trying to think. All I can get. I always pronounce it Keith Ledger.
Put in the title. Don't wear headphones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think basically something that like really where I had an idea and I just lost it. I'm gonna try and think of what I was saying. So what makes these stories so cool is basically it is the good aspects of us. And when I say us, I mean people and the readers fighting against the bad aspects. Mm-hmm. And that is the bravery and the, I don't want to say revenge, it's not a good word, the vengeance and, like, family ties of, like, say a character like Batman, mm-hmm. who is fighting because of what happened to his parents and everything, versus the fear-driven madness of, like, the Scarecrow is the best, like, thing I can direct human emotion to human emotion thing I can say. And you pretty much always see the good side win, and that's always something that is good and rewarding to see, I guess, in a way. And it's nice to... And you also see the cracks in the hero's facade, and you see that when Batman especially is a character who you very much see has, like, anger issues, mm-hmm. and a lot of emotional issues, and I think that's something that you get to see, and you get to say, he has that too. There's this hero in the world, but he suffers from the same things I do, and I think that's why we enjoy it. We enjoy stories so much.
That's how he became a hero.
That's why, and I want to talk about for a second favorite superhero or favorite characters in our favorite superhero universes. And mine, I am a diehard Marvel fan. I don't know why, because I have to admit, a lot of the times DC is better with their characterization, but I think it is because, one, it was one of the first mediums I got into as far as superheroes go, yep. And because there is that, I'm definitely a person, I like to watch something and feel good after I come out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like being heartbroken all of the time with movies. I like heartbreaking scenes, but I don't want to walk out of a movie feeling, like, completely desolate. But, I classify my favorites so far in the Marvel universe, because again, I'm not a big comic reader just because of the fact that it's so expensive to get into the comics.
It's so hard to get into it.
My favorite character is Tony Stark for a multitude of reasons. My favorite Avenger is Captain America for a multitude of reasons. But my favorite superhero...
Are we going to talk about?
...is Doctor Strange.
Fuck! Yes!
Tony is my favorite character because he's the most developed. You can see... Everybody can see themselves in Tony Stark because he is arrogant, but he cares so much, and that drives his arrogance. You can see in almost every Avengers movie that a lot of the things he does and a lot of the mistakes he's made is driven by anxiety and very real human emotions. And we all see ourselves in Tony Stark, which is why I love him so much. Captain America is the best Avenger just because he has the mind of a leader, and just his character represents what superheroes represent.
Well, okay, question. When you say best Avenger, what do you mean by that? Like, your favorite?
I say... Or... I mean, he's definitely... He is the Avengers. Like, without... I mean, one could argue without Captain America, there would be no S.H.I.E.L.D., there would be no Avengers. Like, he is the embodiment of what the Avengers should be.
100%,
He is the role model of the Avengers. I don't think there's a single...
I don't think
there's a single Marvel character who has ever thought, I don't want to be anything like Captain America. Even though, for example, Tony has a rivalry with Steve for good reason, because his father was a dick, which I will get into later. Even though he has this rivalry, Tony has even admitted that he's always looked up to Steve for good reason. Like, he is the embodiment of what a superhero should be.
He's just a really pure person.
Right. Yeah, but with his character, I do wish they would go into his emotions like Tony. But that's why I classify them differently. He's a good Avenger, but Tony's a good character.
Right.
And then my favorite superhero. as far as powers, as far as like backstory and like why he wants the things that he wants.
Stephen Strange.
Fucking, oh my god. That, like, he's a good superhero. My only thing is that there is a chance, depending on what they do with him in the upcoming Avengers movie that he is going to be in, they could easily make him way too overpowered.
Yeah.
That is something, can I know you want to talk about him for a
Yeah,
little.
go ahead.
One thing that really upset me about Scarlet Witch in both Civil War and Age of Ultron is the way her powers are set up, and I get that that's how it is, I'm sure, in the comics and in the backstory. She can kind of do whatever. And I will admit, especially in Civil War, that was part of the issue. That was like, for those who haven't seen Civil War,
we're gonna talk about it. Sorry.
Spoiler: when she contains that explosion and throws it up,
It's at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
it's not like a.
This is not a big deal. I mean, it is, but whatever.
Yeah,
and I think I like that they talk about how she's so powerful, but I really feel like they didn't do that in Age of Ultron. And she kind of had the whatever the situation calls for at the time. And that's something that really gets on my nerves.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, she's just one person, so she can't necessarily take on the entire situation, but she kind of could, because all of her powers.
I mean, she pretty much, for an entire, like, week in the movie, took down the Avengers.
Yeah.
The Avengers, who stopped a fleet of aliens coming in through a fucking black fucking hole in the New York fucking city.
Sophie, it's a wormhole.
What the fuck ever. I'm gonna put my dick in a wormhole. Okay, these Avengers stopped an entire fucking fleet of aliens from wreaking havoc.
Well, actually, see, it was Tony Stark. And...
I'm gonna suck my own dick in a second.
This
one little girl, this one teeny tiny little Romani girl, stopped the group of people who stopped fucking aliens. Aliens! Giant ass fucking meaty fucking
gremlin looking ass motherfucking punk ass bitches from sky space.
Alright, yeah, Stephen Strange. How about him?
Holy shit.
Okay. And I think pretty much everyone who isn't a massive comic reader will agree with me here. We pretty much all went into Doctor Strange not knowing anything.
I didn't even see a trailer.
I mean, Doctor Strange is such an obscure... Because even within the universe, he's, like, even within people who are comic-y people,
Comic-y?
Yeah. He's really... Especially this superhero in particular has fallen into obscurity for a multitude of reasons. Like, nobody was talking about Doctor Strange until they announced they were going to be making a movie. Which is, you know, fine. I'm not, like, bashing anybody.
Well, I mean,
I'm not even into comics.
Yeah, no, that's how you make a hero popular nowadays.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Ant-Man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You bring him back. And even Ant-Man didn't do nearly as well as Doctor Strange.
Like,
I'm not talking about box office. I have no idea. I'm talking about in all of a sudden relevance to...
Fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, I just like to throw this in here for a second. I could not for the life of me think of Doctor Strange when I was talking about what superpower I would want earlier. That is what I was trying to describe, because he has manipulation of matter and time and
You could even argue that, I mean, as far as movies go, I have not seen a Marvel movie that good since the first Iron Man movie. For one.
It was a good movie.
Especially considering, like, what was out when the first Iron Man was out. Like, the time when it was new.
Also, I know they haven't done a lot with this character, but he, in my opinion, also kind of almost rivals Tony in the best characters.
Very similar.
But I think that's why. It's because they're basically the same man.
I cannot wait to see them interact, though.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, it's that stubborn arrogance.
You know, can we not see Doctor Strange and Iron Man interact, but just Tony and Steven?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Give me an hour and a half.
They're gonna fucking hate each other.
Oh man, I can't wait.
See, but this is do they hate each other? Or do they become
best
love
friends?
And
fuck each other.
I feel like
all of the fanfic writers out there.
No, they're gonna have like this rivalry in front of the team, but like as soon as one of them says, "Hey, I got the best fucking idea, fucking Steven, I'm gonna make this robot and you're gonna like do some magic-y shit to it and we're gonna prank the fuck out of Steve," he'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
Oh, that's really what they need. Honestly, whoever the fuck writes these movies, fucking listen to our podcast, please.
Yeah.
All right. So Levi, Sophie did her top 3. Go do your top 3.
Dr. Stephen Strange.
So what categories did you kind of set?
Characterization, Avenger, and then superhero.
Alright, well, I'm not gonna do that, but I'd like...
Sophie, what is the standard you have set for the other 2 people?
Well, it's also because
Levi, fuck you.
Cole, you're more, from what I can tell at least, you're more into DC anyway, so that wouldn't really apply to you.
Yeah.
It might in some aspects, but also because we were pretty much all in agreement with what I said.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about what I want to see more of. I'd really like to see more of Black Widow, please.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
okay,
hell yeah.
I'm helping you out here. Josh Whedon wanted to direct a Black Widow movie.
So, I heard.
And was turned down. But that doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah, no,
if a director wants it, that's good. That means good things.
I can't think of a single person who doesn't want a Black Widow movie. And let's not talk about, because I know someone's...
Okay, no offense, but Black Widow's, like, snippet of a backstory that they had in Ultron was more interesting than the entire movie.
Oh no, honestly, the entire time I'm thinking about, like, but wait, what happened when she was a child? What? Can we go back a couple hours in this movie and just talk about that? Yeah, no, I just... And because, especially since I don't read the comics, there's so much shit that I don't know, that I really need to know about her. And I guess that is kind of what makes her intriguing, is that we don't know much, but that's what really... Like, you know, after this, there's not a whole lot that you can make Black Widow do that will be better than just knowing what happened to her in the past.
Yeah. Especially because from what I understand, Infinity Wars, that's like the tip of the iceberg. You're not...
Yeah.
Infinity Wars, even from what I understand from the comics, is more of like an end-all. I don't think you'd really be able to make other Avenger movies after Infinity Wars.
I mean, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see because...
Or at least not any good ones.
Yeah. But what they could do is they could start splitting now. You've had... What have you had? You've had Hulk, which you somewhat had Hulk.
Yeah.
You've had Captain America. You've had Iron Man. You've had Thor. Thor Ragnarok is still coming out. We have to see what happens with that. I haven't seen a single Thor movie. So.
I'm gonna I did not like the first Thor movie at all.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, okay, thank you for not judging me on that, because I still haven't been able to get myself to see the first Thor movie since it came out.
The second one is better.
Oh, I love the second one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Again, I think it's partially because...
They just had to introduce him.
Yeah, he was the first Avenger they introduced, but the Iron Man movies will always be the best. Even the worst Iron Man movies are still better than some of the other superhero origin movies.
Back on topic of the Hulk, I'd really like to see more of the Hulk. I'd really like there to be a consistent Hulk storyline while we're still in this, I'm just gonna call it the current Avengers universe of, like, you know, the Avengers movies and the side Avengers movies, you know, like, yeah. I'd like to see a Hulk movie, and I'd just really like them to explore Hulk and Black Widow a lot more before this canon ends. I want to see what they're like in this canon, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
I'm going to kind of go with that. Here, I'll move closer.
Yeah, you should probably move closer.
My favorite character, not as the hero, not as them, but the real person, is Bruce Banner. Because I think the fighting himself and knowing, like, at any time, if he gets too upset, that he could lose complete control of who he is and hurt the people that he loves. And I think really what hit me was, it was during the first Avengers movie when he said, I tried to put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spit it out.
Yeah.
Because that entire scene was so intense.
I cried. I cried at that scene.
And especially... I just want to talk...
It's what we've been doing for how long?
Yeah. One, I think Bruce could easily be my favorite character if they developed him
Exactly.
in the movies like they have.
Like, I
Tony
didn't
Stark.
want to steal your thing and just give the exact same answers, because, since we don't know a whole lot about Bruce, it's gotta be Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It's between Tony Stark and Cap. I can't pick one of them for favorite character.
But also, imagine what would happen if Marvel went into more detail with the characterization of all of their characters. Because here's the thing, I love Tony to death, and the reason I do is because he's an actual person. But imagine, just the reactions from the characters alone in that scene that we're talking about where he's talking about attempting suicide, their faces, you could see, they've been there. You could see they have felt very similarly in the past. And that was partially acting choices by the actors, but that was also directing. Actors only get where they are because of directors. The directors / writers / producers they know what the character backstories are. We do not. Like, we know their origins, but we do not know how each character is feeling.
And
all
come
the
on,
time.
unless this is leading up to a Hulk movie, just why stop teasing us with snippets of character backstory, please.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Yeah.
And even if we don't get a Hulk movie or a Black Widow movie, can we please just focus on them a bit more?
More of them.
Please. That's all I'm asking for. Also, slightly off topic, happy late 100th birthday to Bucky Barnes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so that was my favorite character. And then, so I'm going to go with my favorite, villain in terms of basic, No, I'll come back to that. So I'm going to go with, my favorite superhero. And this is going to be... Oh, God. I feel like I can't answer. I think... Oh, God. I don't even know. I really... Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough, I guess. That's obviously what we were all coming to, and we all kind of stated. You guys both said Strange, and I think that's cool. And he's awesome, and I love him as a character.
Don't be afraid to say that Doctor Strange is the best thing you've ever seen. You can. It's fine. You're not stealing this from us.
Actually, no. I will go with my favorite hero.
Okay.
My favorite superhero. And I have to say, that is the original Teen Titans Cyborg.
Oh, yeah!
Because-
I would suck his Cyborg
I can't wait
dick.
for him to shoot sparks right into my fucking mouth.
I just think he was so well created with his abilities, and he had a backstory, and that he was just such a good character.
If we're gonna talk about Teen
The
Titans,
early 2000s Teen Titans was
God.
fucking... Okay, all other superheroes can suck my dick because those fucking characters... Oh my god!
I want Beast Boy to rip my heart into shreds and eat it right in front of me.
This is the first episode I'm gonna have to really edit the sound on. So, I think...
Don't ever have me and Sophie in the same room talking about this.
Yeah. What it really was is the show wasn't about them having powers. It was not.
It was just about them being
them
kids.
as people.
And their friendship and how they develop and their interactions with each other. And again, Marvel.
Marvel, come on, man.
Take a hint.
Get
because
on this shit.
you're good, but you're relying too much on how much money you have.
On it,
And this is coming from a hardcore Marvel fan.
And it's like, I'm sorry, Marvel, you won't lose a dime if you make a bad movie.
Ant-Man.
I didn't want to be the first to say it.
And, there's never been an animated TV show that has made me cry aside from the original Teen Titans.
Oh,
because
hell
that
yeah.
show would dive into aspects of being a teenager, and not only that, but being a person. And just to kind of go on Cyborg,
human characters.
they'd cut back to him and what happened and how he became a cyborg. Or there was one episode I remember when Beast Boy shrank down and went inside Cyborg,
I have not. Let me the vor. Oh.
No.
Yes.
No.
All right, here. I'd like to switch topics. If I could be a superhero, aside from just being like my own version of Doctor Strange, I'd like to be Vor Boy. Are you unplugging the mic?
We're cutting you off. I'm moving it away from you. All right.
See what Vor Boy does.
Shut up.
In the production of, I want to also point out that TV shows will always kind of be better. Even in the current Marvel, I want to say my favorite superhero TV show has to be the early 2000s animated Teen Titans. It has to be. But
I'm currently rewatching this show. I'm sorry, I can't think of any commentary. I haven't seen it since it ended when I was a wee lad.
Oh, it's just burned into my mind forever.
Yeah. But especially with, for example, Daredevil, when you make a TV show about a superhero as opposed to a movie, which both are good. You can dive deep into that characterization. You can explain why they're doing exactly what they're doing before they do it, after they do it, while they're doing it, and it really makes for.
You can actively rip my heart to shreds.
Like, for example, Matt Murdock, his mentality of I have to protect people because they're not able to protect themselves. Like, all superheroes kind of feel that, but the way they show him feeling that is by... Oh, I can't even explain it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just... There's something that you get in a TV show, and I think it's the continuity that you get from a TV show that you just can't get from a movie. Because in a movie, it's very weird to hear... if Iron Man went like... Oh yeah, I wish back when that happened, if we had done this, or this is why I did that, versus in Teen Titans, when you have, like, the 2-part episodes, I think, and it would be like, this would happen, they'd fight the villain, and then you go back and you learn about why and how, and they do flashbacks, and it was awesome.
And you can just you can get connected.
Yeah.
Connected.
Education connection. Alright.
We're gonna get copyright strike on our fucking channel already, damn. Hey, you know what?
Sorry to the 2 people that are watching this. That one is a college fuck. I'm eating pizza.
Okay, so I do
pizza
think
that
we should start wrapping this up relatively soon.
Oh man, because I was gonna say, we haven't even touched Deadpool yet.
So, Deadpool's its own thing.
Yeah.
Anti-heroes are another subject entirely.
I don't have a lot to say about superheroes because recently I've been really into anti-heroes.
Yeah, so we can... Is there anything short and brief that you guys want to bring up? At all?
I'm not just waiting to fuck my skull.
No.
I want to talk about the recent rise in anti-Semitism in Marvel.
Ooh, this is good. This could be potentially really long, but you know what? Go on. No, I think we need to talk about this. Go on.
And we might have to just brief it now, and then maybe do a different podcast at another time about this.
We could even just do like one on anti-Semitism and connect it to Marvel.
Yeah. Now you have to understand, Marvel is. It's a very complicated thing.
I'm gonna get something out of the way. I'm Jewish.
Yeah,
Hi.
Cole is Jewish.
He's Jewish. Also, if we're gonna talk about nicknames, another nickname that he goes by is the number 1 Jew. Mm-hmm. So,
but okay, in Marvel, you have to understand, creators are pretty independent, especially in comic making, which is where a lot of this anti-Semitism is happening.
Because there's so many universes.
There's so many comic writers, authors, illustrators that it would be impossible for Marvel to possibly keep track of them all to the extent that we would like them to.
Or especially like if there's like one guy in charge, they can't keep track of everything.
And there's also there's just a lot of issues that I'm not going to get into right now because we're short on time. But especially within the comics,
and again, we haven't read the comics, but we've seen bits and pieces of them. We've seen other people's commentary on them. We've seen the specific pages you're referencing, because I kind of know what you're talking about.
Making Captain America in a comic series a man who has fought Nazis almost all of his life, a man who clearly, is the embodiment of what America should be like, to make him a Hydra agent, which is what, if you're not caught up, and sorry, spoiler, in a specific series, I cannot remember who did this right now.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. While he's looking up, I'm gonna continue talking. They made Captain America the embodiment of the American idea and dream of freedom.
So, hi. Once again, because we are learning, this episode cuts out randomly at the end, and you get to hear my lovely voice once more. So yeah, recording cut out at the end. Don't know really exactly what happened, but I know it cut out, and I know it was in the middle of Sophie talking, but I do have to say, that was pretty much the end. She talked about, a little bit more how she was feeling about the whole Captain America thing, and then I realized we had been recording for almost an hour, and we really needed to stop. And also, stop before we got too incredibly political with anything. So, yeah, that's pretty much the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There will always be things coming out every Tuesday, Thursday, hopefully. And as well, at the end, like, this is something, those of you that stay all the way to the end to get to here, this Sunday I'm going to be starting something called Sonnet Sundays, where I'm going to read a sonnet and just post it on the channel, just a plain read. So if you guys are into poetry, go ahead and watch that. If you're not, just like tell me. If it's not something you guys want to hear or see, then I won't do it. But yeah, that's something I'm planning on starting. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and Godspeed.